Mic check Vienna.
No. I was in Japan, and just like I was there the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
First 3 weeks. And I didn't even mean to get involved. It just so happened that Zuccotti Park is right on my commute to work from where I was living in New Jersey at the time. I actually work on Wall Street. You walk outside the building that I work in, turn to your right, boom, there's the exchange.
Okay.
And then one Saturday, the building sent out an email to everybody saying, don't come to work on Saturday. This is the September 15th demonstrations.
Okay.
And don't come to work on Saturday. And so I didn't go to work, didn't think of it. Then Monday morning, I'm walking across Zuccotti Park, and there's a bunch of people there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, what's this all about? And then somebody from the CCC Congress in Berlin recognized me and said, Nick, we need your help. We need sleeping bags and tarps and vegan food and blah, 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 blah. And I saw people, before I even knew what the politics of it were, before I even knew anything about what Occupy was, I just saw people who really believed strongly in what they believed in and who were suffering, clearly, but who were not going to leave.
Okay.
And that's just sort of, that touched my heart, and I said, okay, I'm going to do what I can. And so I had a car, drove to Jersey, bought a bunch of sleeping bags, tarps, vegan food, tables for a welcome center.
Yeah.
You know, and every day I'd walk in, I'd try to go to the GA during my lunch break, and then on my way home I'd get a list of things that they needed, come back and bring it back. And I mean, this was in the days when there was a media blackout.
Yeah.
You know, there were 20 people on the first night in Zuccotti Park, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly and slowly it started growing. Slowly people, and that's the thing, even the whole GA process, it seems so streamlined and everybody knows the rules. But those first 2 weeks, they were figuring out how that GA process worked. You know, even the process was a matter of consensus. Mm-hmm. And it was a big, beautiful thing. It started to grow, and it started to grow, and it started to grow. And the whole time, it was a pen. The cops had created this just pen, and there were people shivering, freezing, and that was the funny thing. There were blue-shirted cops standing around that wanted to do something. You could see it in their faces that they were, I mean, these are like the grunts, like the guys who maybe been on the force for like 3 or 4 years, who were like, this isn't right. And then it was the white shirts, the command staff, that was like, how do we get rid of these guys? This is a problem. This is creating a problem for business. This is creating a problem for the image of blah, 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 blah. And, you know, all that just first 2 weeks, it was just, what's the new problem? Oh, we're going to try to put up tents this week. Maybe, maybe not. How do we keep the media center dry? Because it's going to rain tonight. How do we erect tarps that isn't a tent that the cops say we don't have to take? And there's just this constant negotiation.
With the cops or
well, no, everybody. I mean, that's what the Occupy movement is. It's not about the old way of getting a bunch of people together, putting a platform, getting elected, becoming part of the political process, and then now you're part of the problem. Mm-hmm. It's about saying, wait, no, hold up, stop all of that. Let's all sit down and talk about how we got here and how we're not going to go there in the future. Yeah. And that's what Occupy is. Occupy is dialogue. Occupy is not platforms and statements and, you know, political participation in the process. No, it's about, whoa, hold on. Mm-hmm. Enough, and let's dialogue about it. Mm-hmm. What inspired this project the most, I became part of the comfort working group in Zuccotti Park, just basic needs for people that weren't first aid and things like that. You know, there was first aid, there was security, there was hygiene. They changed their name a bunch of times. I forget what they're called now. And then comfort. Comfort was, I need warm clothing. I need sleeping bags. I need a tarp. I need, you know, something to keep under me so that I don't get wet. And that's what we did. We found ways of providing it. It was one of those things where I'd see a friend that I hadn't seen in years, so I knew was an artist, and I thought, okay, artist, wait. They probably have a lot of padding and a lot of spare scraps and things like that they can bring down to just put underneath people. Yeah. I thought, hey, can you go home and grab all that stuff? And then 2 hours later, they showed up with all this stuff, and we had stuff for the comfort working group. There'd be people who would walk by and say, hey, is there anything I could do? And I said, yeah, go to the Salvation Army, just get blankets. Take them to a laundromat, clean them, bring them by. And it's just that sort of thing. It was everybody figuring things out on their own. Even little, just morale things. I traveled to Japan right after. That's the funny thing. In October I was in Chile. November I was in Japan for work. And I remember being in the Japan hackerspace, or the Tokyo hackerspace, and they said, why are we going to send little trinkets of things to the Occupy movement? And I said, because when you're freezing, when you've been rained on, when you've been marching all day, and when you're there and you really believe in what you believe in, but you're just hurting everywhere, and you get just a little piece of chocolate with a note on it that says, we believe in what you're doing, Tokyo hackerspace. I mean, these are kids straight off the bus. These are kids that have never seen 3-story buildings, let alone the 100-story buildings that are everywhere in New York. They're just, I'm out of a job. I have student loan debt. I can't have no job prospects at all. Even McDonald's won't hire me because I have a college degree. Mm-hmm. They just said, what am I going to do? I'm going to get on a bus. I'm going to go to Zuccotti Park. And that's the kind of people that showed up that we had to help because they had nothing. And just little morale things like that was a part of the Comfort Working Group. But what inspired this was just kids, straight out punk, tatted up, piercings, dressed way inappropriately for the impending cold season. He was just looking at me. And I was like, hey, can I help you? Are you okay? And he was just looking at me going like this. And I said, dude, are you all right? Like I was about ready to call Josh over in medical because he was just looking at me with such hatred. And he asked me, what are you doing here? I said, oh, hi, I'm Nick. I'm part of the Comfort Working. He was like, no, what are you doing here? What I didn't realize at the time was that I was still in my suit.
Okay.
I go to work in a suit, drop stuff off in the morning, go to work, come back for lunch, be a part of the GA, go back to work, and then as I'm going back, at that time I was working late nights, and I was still wearing the same clothes I had on at work. Yeah. And it wasn't until Josh over in First Aid, which was really close, Comfort at the time was in the southwest corner, or pretty close to the southwest corner of Zuccotti Park, right before the stairs that go down. And Josh was like, no, that's just Nick. He's cool, dude. Don't worry about it. He's cool. And I thought, what was going on in that kid's mind? That just the suit just brought out such a visceral reaction. And then I started thinking more about it. I started thinking more about Occupy and about just, I believe strongly in Occupy, but there's so much confrontation. There's so much otherization. I think that otherizing the 1% is it's the same as racism. Anytime you otherize somebody else, to really achieve a true dialogue, you have to get in their heads. And I'm in that interesting position. I'm on that bridge, I work for the 1%, but at the same time I believe in the Occupy movement. It's like I go down to Zuccotti Park, and you're working, they're like, dude, quit your job, come help us, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I wish I could, but I can't. And then I go to work, and they're like, oh, are you helping those bums in Zuccotti Park out again, blah, blah, blah. It's everybody's, my whole idea was, I love art. I don't know how to make art. I'm not an artist. I'm not an activist. I'm just an accountant. I'm just me. I got invited here because I was an accountant. My inviting institution moniker, I'm their accountant, was doing some accounting for them. They said, hey, be an artist in residence, come to Vienna and party. And a whole bunch of different things happened, and I thought, there's a way we can use art to get over this confrontation. There's a way that we can use art to reach into the hearts of everybody. We can reach into the hearts of the 1%, the 99%, that I think that with art, we can touch everybody, and we have to touch everybody if Occupy is going to succeed, if this dialogue that we're trying to have encompasses everybody, and that's just my crazy idea. That's why I'm dancing in the U-Bahn in Vienna. And it's also a dance strategy. It's because protests are super hard to do in New York, but art events aren't. And so the whole idea was a bunch of guys in suits. Whether we give you a suit, there's actually a business attire working group now. there was before Zuccotti Park got raided. Of just trying to put people in business suits, and then we'd go down to Wall Street and just protest. Nobody expected it. A whole bunch of suits coming down here, and then boom, protest happens. And I thought we can do the same thing with dance. A bunch of guys in business suits carrying briefcases decked out as boom boxes, just randomly go into the Union Square subway station, a major hub. Just find that spot, drop the briefcases, and then boom, dance, because everybody around's going to be, what's this? What's going on here? Everybody who's riding the subway, everybody who's in there, and everybody rides the subway in New York. And that's just that little sort of crack into somebody's heart with art. then you can start a dialogue. Then you can say, hey, we're from the Occupy movement. And because, people will always run on their preconceived notions. So if you can just tweak that slightly, just get people to step out of their preconceived notions a little bit, and then start the dialogue, that's when you can reach more people, and that's when you can make this whole thing work more effectively. And so that's the idea behind this. And I mean, even right here, I had no idea what I was doing with all this. I had a plan, but then all of these people who are working on stuff and trying to get this art hung up on walls that I made, and that they collaborated. A lot of it's their art. These are all people that I met here in Vienna that I've known them for 2 weeks.
We too have we've made a dance video.
Yeah.
And we've tried to we painted a sign called Occupy Vienna, and just we were 3 persons, and we stood up our camera in front of Vienna International Center and so on, and just go there with the sign and dance like crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and we've made such video.
Awesome. Yeah, and you got to get out, and you just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
I love the U-Bahn that because that's when people. It's weird. It's weird dancing for 2 weeks, and then in the last couple of days handing out flyers for a show that isn't even done yet.
Okay.
But yeah, that's. I hope you guys can come back when it's actually up.